Okay, my name is Paul Swallen, and I started with Polychrome in 1981. The thing that I remember most in all the years that I worked for Polychrome was the infamous football game. And I'm going to just tell you what happened. It's pretty amazing. The first person who you would think was involved in this is a guy named Harlitz. Rich Harlitz. He came to Polychrome to run the customer service group and the manufacturing group, and he hired a guy named Steve Gittemal. Everybody remembers. Steve was one of the most competitive people you ever want to meet. And he had a thing with Marv Lieberman down in Clark, where they didn't like each other. They were always competing in any possible way they could. So one day they decided they wanted to have a football game between the Yonkers plant and the Clark plant. And it was going to be a flag football game, and just for fun and blah blah blah. Turns out that the flags were really, really hard to get off when you went to grab them. And it turned into a tackle football game. One guy ended up in the hospital. There were at least 2 broken bones, and it was just amazing. And so after that, anything that happened was not too bad. I continued on and on and on. I retired last year from Kodak. I stayed with the company all that time, and retired last year.
Hi, my name is Ralph Maschio. I was started with Polychrome in 1984. Bob Wilkin hired me. I was the plant controller in Yonkers. Later on, I went to work for Mr. Mazzillo in the sales department as his controller. I had some great times. Great times. So it was a wonderful place to be. I actually kept a lot of acquaintances over the years. These 2 ladies on my left, I'm very familiar with, Maria and Pauline. Mr. Rogers over there. Bob has always there. Picked up a phone and called me, always answering. It's been Mario, of course. Just and a few other people. So it's really, I was there a good 8 years. It was probably the best year of my career. Well, every year was good, but it was sort of some of the special years. So thank you for organizing this, and hope to see you all again soon. Great dinner and all kinds of stuff.
I started with Polychrome. It was on July 1st, 1985. And I stayed with the company through Sun Chemical, going over to Fort Lee, and then over to KPG in Norwalk, Connecticut. And I'm still with Kodak. JP and I are still, I think the 2 remaining individuals are still with Kodak. We're still doing purchasing. Still involved with basically all the plate coating chemistries that are used throughout our plants worldwide. But Polychrome holds a special place in my heart also. I came from the retail industry before that, and talk about 2 different worlds. This was such a warm, family-like atmosphere, and really some of the best work in the department. Ken, thank you so much for organizing this. I know it takes a lot of work, and we appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Pauline Baruchian. I started with Polychrome in 1989, stayed on until 2009 when Kodak decided to need it. And then lucky enough, Ralph Maschio, my wonderful friend, helped me get a job at Spray Lab, but that was just bought over by ken-ichi Industries, so I'm in between jobs. I'm working with Ralph a lot now. It's just such wonderful memories. It was one, like everyone said, it was a wonderful place to work right there, working around the field. We had a crisis, and I had to stay there almost overnight. And Ralph Field the next day said, take us out to dinner. I mean, things, just like that. They always appreciate it. So thank you so much.
We used to have one.
Hi everyone, I'm Elaine Ross. Many of you don't know me by face, but my voice. I started with Polychrome in 1970. sales office in New York City, Spring and 6th Avenue. And then we closed that office, moved to Yonkers in a small office across the road from the main office. Then I was moved over to the main office, and then in '92, all the antics started, and we moved to Fort Lee, and in Fort Lee, and I moved to Connecticut, then I would move back to Fort Lee, then back to Connecticut. However, it's been a wonderful ride. It was my first job after leaving England, so everything was new, and thanks to my office manager, Fanny Hampton, she was so terrific. She was a wonderful person, as you don't see. And thanks to Pauline and Marge for encouraging me to come to one of these get-togethers. I'm never one to get into these things. I was a bit of a in the corner, stay in the corner and watch what goes on. But I'm glad I came because faces, I had names, but not faces now. I'm linking up everything. I was laid off from Kodak in 2009. And in a way it was a blessing because my mother was sick and she's just getting worse and worse. And so I'm able to take care of her and my son. So, and I have no regrets. Thank
you. Hi, I'm Ray Bender, and I started with Polychrome in 1977. I actually came from the trade. And Paul Memphis was my sales rep. Well, it was Bill Miller and Harvey Hillock, maybe some names that you remember. I bought from them. In fact, I bought ACR film. And everywhere I'd move, I'd call who's my rep. And back in those days, I think it was Fujifilm in the box. And anyway, Paul recruited me, said you should go to work for us. And I never did any sales. I like production. So I went ahead and did it. And I was a sales rep in Southern California. And then I was asked to move to San Francisco as assistant manager. I became branch manager. And then I became a district manager over Seattle. And I had a total of 23 years. And I know I interfaced with a lot of people around the table here. One thing Ron would do was, if you remember the QC, the teams that he would put together, or everybody would put together, and Ron would make sure that the sales force was represented. I remember going to Yonkers and spots on the plates was because the roof was leaking. They had just put layers and layers on top. And I remember Columbus when we opened it, and we took a bunch of branch managers and warehouse managers and went down there and worked for a week at a time, trying to get that organized. But fond memories. It was 2000. I was the last Polychrome person in Northern California. And I was called in and said, "Come meet me." And kind of sad. Really, it was a great company. Just the faces, I know a lot of the stuff we did, we were out with cowboys and Indians, we felt, West Coast. But we did a lot of good things with CTX, and when it came out, and the Donnelly plant up in Oregon, and then World Color, and Mercedes. But fond memories and great times. Thank you.
I'm Nancy Bender, I'm the big guy. Thank you for allowing me to join you folks today. It's been a real pleasure so far, and I think it's going to be a huge day. So that's all I have to say. I was there for Polychrome, and I think Polychrome was just a dynamite company. They were good to us, and I think we were good to them. So, thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Paul Namoda. I came out of the trade in 1974. I was a Polychrome user in a large company, Economy Graphics, and we used the Polychrome positive plates. And sometimes the blades comes in as a package jack. You never know what you get inside. And it was hard to work with it, but I was able to make it work. And Joe Musa came and he said to me, "Hey, how would you like to go work for Polychrome? Come for an interview." So I said, well, it's a possibility. 1974, I came and did interview with Charlie Priner, and the following week I started working for Polychrome. It was a totally different experience from working in the trade and then servicing customers with the product. It was an experience, and I stayed for 24 years with Polychrome. And presently, I'm still working in the industry at part-time and learning a lot about new technology which is coming and improving it every day. And I believe today's printing is better than it was in the past. And the application is easier than it was in the past. It's a lot of new technology out there which benefits the printer and the supplier. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.